many of our neighbors. Changes to SNAP have already affected many people in our community. People who rely on SNAP to make ends meet. More than 75,000 Lane County residents depend on SNAP to help feed their families. And when those benefits are frozen or reduced, we see the impacts immediately. In recent weeks, pantry visits have quadrupled, with many families turning to us for help. To meet this growing demand, we've purchased several truckloads of food with more on the way. And we're adding 11 new mobile pantry pop-ups during the holidays to reach more people in rural communities. I want to thank this incredible community for the outpouring of support. They have stepped up to donate funds, host food drives, and support our work to help our neighbors that are seeking food assistance. And I want to thank Senator Wyden for standing with us and for the people that we serve. We are grateful for your commitment to end hunger in America.
Carolyn, thank you so much. And first of all, to comment on the events of the last few weeks. Food in America should never be used as a political weapon. Sadly, hunger never takes a day off. So here we are to get the message out that we need everybody to step up and help. The largest SNAP cut in history passed Congress in the summer of 2025. And the first pledge I want to make is, as Oregon's senior senator, I'm going to do everything I can to reverse that damage, because we're seeing, particularly for seniors, for young people, for disabled folks, when they can't get good food, they're going to get sick. And the reality is, it may cost a little bit for the food, but the illnesses are so much more expensive, and we're better than that. So every food bank that I know of is coming up short and needs more food. And that's because the demand is so enormous. And as you saw, Carolyn was pointing out racks that she wanted filled. So the first thing I want you to know is I'm going to do everything I can after I go to get some people help me fill those racks, because that's hugely important. So there's an enormous demand, and the people who need this food, I'm going to really wrap up with this and take some questions. These are folks who are walking an economic tightrope in this community. Every single week, they balance the food bill against the fuel bill, against the rent bill. And in a country as rich and strong as ours, we ought to be thinking not so many tax breaks for billionaires and more help for the folks who depend on this to sustain life, and help seniors and kids and families pay for groceries and rent and have a chance to have a future. We're better than all these hungry people. We can have many more people with sufficient amounts of food. That's what I'm determined to be part of. And I just wanted to wrap up by saying, as far as I'm concerned, you guys have size 7 halos. Because every single day they're out trying to help. Let's take
SNAP funds that were distributed by the state won't be impacted by the government shutdown. But I'm wondering if there are any disruptions that the state could be facing as a result of distributing those funds without the permission.
Well, I never underestimate the cruelty of the Trump administration. So they may decide that they want to take some retribution. That's what's my job, to stand up for people who are hungry. I'm going to tell them where I've been. I'm going to tell them about the empty racks. I'm going to tell them about the paper plate project. And I'm going to make sure that they don't take retribution on the community. I'm very much aware of it and been thinking about that. And as you know, our Attorney General supported us on this as well. For your question.
Senator, could you just speak to Chuck Schumer and kind of your stance or viewpoint on him now?
Well, let me mention one other bill, and then I'll talk about Senator Schumer. I've also introduced a bill that I think reflects how some of the laws are a little bit out of date. I introduced the Emergency Relief for Hungry Families Act that's going to allow grocers to voluntarily offer discounts to SNAP users when their benefits are reduced or eliminated by a government shutdown. This is part of a rule that was passed years ago, and we ought to be updating these rules, and I think my legislation will help. As far as the whole question of political, leadership, the best political leadership is to get things done and help people. That's what I'm working on, and that's my focus.
Any concern we're going to end up right back where we were with the shutdown 3 months from now when the funding bill expires again?
Well, I've said repeatedly to the Trump administration, the senior Democrat on the Finance Committee, I'll work with them. I have a track record of working in a bipartisan way. For example, they're now saying they want to go after big insurance companies. You've seen that in the papers and stuff. They want to go after big insurance companies. Well, put me down as kind of skeptical about whether they're going to do it. But if they will, I'll be all in fighting the big insurance companies. And I wrote the only law, and I learned about it actually in Eugene when I was director of the Gray Panthers, when we had seniors that were being sold 10, 15 policies. They weren't worth the paper they were written on, and we got it changed. So I've got a track record of working with people. That's what we ought to be focused on, and that's what I'm spending my time on.
And we're just going to do questions first here at the press conference, and any other questions on any other issue we'll do afterwards.
Yeah.
What do you say to people that say it was all for nothing, the government shutdown, SNAP benefits being paused? Just kind of speak to that person at home.
Well, I'm not going to say that somebody is essentially nothing if they have a 500% increase in their premium. That's what's going on in this town. Not far from here, there's a couple that I met who are a little bit short of Medicare, age, and their premiums are going up 500%. That's not nothing. That's a really big something. Because you can't make it in terms of paying for groceries and housing and the like, 500% premium increase. And we're going to have a hearing in the Finance Committee, and I'll be talking about what's going on in Wayne County.
Caroline or Rebecca, what did the late distribution of SNAP do as far as the increased demand, people showing up to get food because they don't have those benefits?
Yeah, even prior to November 1st, when we learned in late October that this was something that was on the table, our pantry partners started seeing huge numbers of visitors, people really concerned about making it through November 1st and as far afterward as they needed to during the shutdown. So we heard of big lines, folks needing to be turned away, not having enough food at pantry distributions to meet the need, which is incredibly upsetting.
The other part of this that is so harmful is all of these cutbacks really hurt local grocery stores and really hurt jobs in Wayne County. That's another part of the reason I'm trying to get more flexibility for local grocers on ways in which they can keep their doors open, pay their employees, and make sure that food's on.
Caroline and Rebecca, what have you guys sort of learned in this process and kind of what's to come? What efforts will be either taken back because of the low drop in demand you guys could see, or just speak a little bit about that?
Well, we have continued to see the rise in demand for many, many months, even prior to this, because of the high cost of goods and services. So we don't anticipate that the demand is going to go down anytime soon.
And anything you guys learned from this process as far as gearing up for, like you said, another potential government shutdown?
It's always astounding how generous the community is, and so that's what sort of makes it possible to keep going, both emotionally and logistically. So having the support of our community, people turning out so generously at whatever level is generous for them, whether it's a couple cans or a big financial donation to help us close the gap, it's also incredible.
Only other point is it's time for elected officials to honor their promises. all through 2024 in the election, they said they were going to work on affordability. You all remember that, and they stood in grocery stores and the like. And then after the election, a lot of people got interested in other things, like tax breaks for billionaires. I'm telling everybody it's time to step up and honor your promises, and that's why I'm here today, focused on getting more food for hungry people. Because that's the big affordability. That's one of the biggest things that they can do. Anybody have any others? Take a quick one, and then we're going to sit down and do some thought. Sure.
On another topic here, I wonder if you have any reaction or have heard anything beyond what folks here know about what's going on in Newport with a possible
I do, and I have
ice
very
facility.
strong feelings about it. We put together a delegation letter yesterday making it clear we are going to fight this every step of the way. Newport is a wonderful community, a proud community. I am on my watch not going to see those young kids in a fishing and tourism town walk by the aquarium and see a detention facility. It's not going to happen on my watch. Now, I happen to believe, apropos of your question, one of the reasons that Trump people are looking at it is because they fear the media in towns like this and in the valley and the like. They want to go somewhere where they can do things that they would have a lot of trouble explaining otherwise, and it's another reason why I'm fighting. I'm also at a town meeting for those who are interested in about a week. Thank you for asking the question. Very big question.